a pretty smart room, and it's been made so much smarter and so much richer by these presentations that just sort of threw open the windows to so much of the world. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to do something innovative, something that I have never done before, which is I'm going to read you a talk. In part so that I will stay on time, and in part because the title of it is in defense of echo chambers, and I want to make sure that I'm saying what I actually, think. So here goes. Just think of it as a sort of a lecture sort of thing. I apologize already. So Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan is reputed to have said, "Everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but not to his own facts." And this saying has become quite popular, in large part because it brings us the comfort of believing that facts can bring us together. But perhaps the single incontestable conclusion to be drawn after even a momentary involvement with the internet is that we don't agree about anything. Everything is contested on the net, even things that really should not be. So perhaps it's time to acknowledge that the facts are not going to bring us together. The old Enlightenment ideal of two people with deeply different beliefs sitting down over a cup of coffee, and they talk, and they're honest, and they dig into their beliefs, and they work down to their fundamental differences until the issue is resolved and the truth emerges. The internet has shown that that ideal just not going to happen. We don't agree, and now we cannot deny that we don't agree. I am not, and I say this looking at Kathleen, I'm not saying we should give up on facts or on fact-based argument or on fact-checking. I mean, God bless the fact-checkers. To the contrary, it remains our obligation to try to base our policies on facts, because facts are the part of reality that we bark our shins against. Reality counts. But I want to argue against one version of despair that comes from looking at the seeming powerlessness of facts on the internet, and this is the echo chamber argument. So Cass Sunstein's idea of echo chambers and Eli Pariser's wonderful book, the filter bubble, its variation on the theme, these are well known to you. The basic idea is that when people are given lots of choices of the voices to listen to, they will tend to listen in any case, to people who have the same set of beliefs, who agree with them, and that this results in a confirming of people's beliefs. They get more fixed in their beliefs, and in fact, they may become more radicalized, and thus the society becomes more polarized. And if the net is having this effect, then the net is not the great hope for a more open society. It is a tragedy, if the internet is having this effect, and if we're understanding the effect correctly. Echo chambers are a real problem, and we need to be vigilant and to educate ourselves and our children how to avoid the pernicious effects of echo chambers. So please keep that in mind as I head towards what is actually my point today, which is that echo chambers are dangerous, but they're also a condition of thought and understanding and political action. So I want to look at one example of an echo chamber, Reddit, reddit.com. How many of you spend time at Reddit? So it's a pretty good selection of you. It's not what we think of, I think, when we think of an echo chamber, but it has all of the earmarks of one. The Reddit community, although it is far from uniform, nevertheless generally shares some values. It's pro-science, it's atheist, it's pro-legalization of pot, it's very pro-cute pets, it's generally progressive. It has shared heroes, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. It has a set of in-jokes or memes that you often have to understand the hidden context to get. The text over the photo of the woman doesn't make any sense until you know one way or another. You find out that that woman's face, that flags that meme as first world problems. And then suddenly it becomes hilarious. But without that, it's just sort of, you can't make sense of it. So Reddit has its own sensibility about humor. It has its own vocabulary. FTFY means fix that for you. AMA, ask me anything. It also has its own norms and its own ethos. Reddit is an echo chamber. Yet it's also a great example of how a community can successfully engage outside of its own bubble. IAMA at Reddit stands for I am a blank. I am someone putting him or herself up for questions of any sort. I am a mariachi, I am Louis C.K., I am Darrell Issa, I am a janitor at Walmart, I am Zach Wall, did a couple of really great ones before and after he went on The Daily Show. I am a Rick Santorum supporter, very interesting one. I am a Muslim religious student, and keep in mind that Reddit is basically, it's so atheistic, it tends to be anti-religious. And you can email me if you don't like that characterization. So AMA, ask me anything. At its best, which is frequent, what follows in an IMA is a group interview in which answers are treated with respect so long as they're frank and they're honest and you're not BSing anyone. The community, the Reddit community, feels empowered to ask the questions that people really want answered without a foolish regard for political correctness. Political correctness is not always foolish, sometimes it is. These are straightforward, frank questions that get straightforward and frank answers. IMAs are a new form, rhetorical form of journalism, and can result in some of the best interviews I've read. The recent IMA with Paul Krugman, did people read that? That was a pretty great collaborative group community interview of a Nobel Prize winner. More important for my purposes this afternoon, IMAs are a way in which an echo chamber can throw open its windows. The key point is that it's because Reddit is an echo chamber that it can engage in something that's actually close to the Enlightenment ideal of open, honest, frank discussion among people with deep differences. This is absolutely not accidental, and it points to the baby that we should be careful not to throw out with the echo chamber bathwater. The Reddit community can engage in IMAs so frankly and well because it has a strong sense of who it is as a community. Communities are echo chambers. They're a set of people that share basic values and beliefs. These values and beliefs are assumed and continuously reinforced. This is not an accident or something we can avoid. It is baked into the very nature of conversation, the conversations that create community. To have a conversation of any sort, you have to have 99% agreement. I made up that number, but roughly it's right. You have to be speaking the same language, you have to have the same basic norms of conversation, who gets to speak and for how long and how interruptive you can be and the sense of humor and so forth. You have to be interested in the same topic. Then you can find some small differences that you can actually converse about. You both like Johnny Depp, but you differ over whether he sold out in the past few years. You both think that the poor should have access to health care, but you differ about how it should be delivered. So you find something that you can differ about within this great mass of agreement. You find that 1% difference. This need for a vast similarity is not a failing of conversation, it is its condition. And that's because human understanding itself works this way. We understand the new. Inevitably, we understand. This is what understanding means. It means that you are assimilating the new into your already existing context, your deeply interrelated set, your web of ideas and beliefs and feelings. That's how understanding works. That's why when some piece of news comes along, it makes sense to go to a site where the people with whom you basically agree, your echo chamber, where they're discussing it. So what did the Wisconsin recall results mean for President Obama's re-election? I'm going to go on that day, I'm going to go first to Daily Kos because they're going to help me understand it within my personal political context. I might then, very well, might visit a Republican site to help me see how they're taking it. But that's at least in some sense a type of anthropological research for me. Communities are echo chambers, conversation is an echo chamber, understanding is an echo chamber. The political solidarity that leads to action requires an echo chamber. And as Reddit shows, our way out of an echo chamber is through an echo chamber. The problem is that Reddit is an all too rare example of an echo chamber that willingly throws open its windows. It takes rare delight in doing so. So what distinguishes Reddit that makes it so rare? It's an echo chamber with a commitment to the value of curiosity and strong norms of empathy, acceptance, and love. It can engage with other points of view without giving up its own values or its own snarky silliness. And from this, as the SOPA protest showed, can come political action. We simply cannot escape all of our echo chambers, because these echo chambers are our communities, are how conversation proceeds, are how understanding proceeds. Our challenge is to bring to each of the echo chambers we inevitably inhabit the values that will turn them into arenas of engaged understanding, rather than into dark chambers of willful stupidity. Thank you.